Hello everyone, and welcome to Around the Clock.
I'm Yolanda Greaves.
And I'm Mark Jewett, and this is our episode from February 20th, and we're happy to be back. Another exciting lineup today, Yolanda.
Yeah, some great things to talk about and show.
We'll be interviewing you as chair of the Board of Selectmen,
Yep.
update on last night's meeting. We're waiting to see if something comes across the Ask the Clock ticker, see if
Maybe
there's any
something will.
questions for the community. Special guest today is Erica Dinnerman. Erica is a prevention specialist, and she's now the coordinator of the Ashland Decisions at Every Turn Coalition. She's going to come and talk about the large grant they recently received and what they're doing for the youth and families in Ashland.
And her role in that organization.
That's correct. And we have a combination personnel around town event. We're going to go to the library and meet with Paula Bonetti, the library director. So that'll be exciting. See what's happening at the library, hear from Paula.
And show off the library itself, let
Yes.
people see, if they haven't been there recently, some of the great things that are going on.
It's a beautiful facility, some nice
Yes.
artwork by some local artists,
Yeah.
and never mind all the books and stuff. We have around-the-clock activities today. We're going to sort of break out our around-the-clock calendar to help folks understand different events that are going on. And then we're going to see you at the senior dinner and auction.
Yep, we had a great time at that. Some fun was had in regards to some of the bidding, so that was good. And great attendance at that event.
And I'll be working the food event at
Yes.
the volunteer breakfast coming up on Saturday. And then we're going to wrap up with our sports update, our final comments, and of course, one or two special public service announcements
Yes.
from our control board.
There we go.
All right, so we'll be right back after this message. Stick with us, Around the Clock.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
All right, welcome back to Around the Clock. So Yolanda, another exciting selectmen's meeting last night.
It was a little quiet. You weren't there and Joe wasn't there, but we got some great things done. We had some great presentations. A lot of good information was discussed, and let's see, some of the big things that we talked about. We had a nice presentation by John Evans from Keefe Tech, giving us in the community a little bit more information as to the Keefe Tech roof project that we'll be voting on the funding of it at the town meeting happening on Monday the 24th, and then at the special election happening on March 18th, so people need to be aware of those things. We also had an audit briefing by Scott McIntyre, who looked at our books, and things are looking good. How we're doing things are looking good. There's a whole long briefing that we read. He gave us a little bit of a presentation. Some things that we're going to have to be looking out for are our pension requirements in the future, and our OPEB, our other retirement benefits. We're going to have to be looking at those, as are all the communities in Massachusetts. So those were some of the big things that he outlined.
No, it was a 48-page report. I read it. It was very well done.
Yeah, it's a great report. If you're interested in finances and the town's finances, you can go ahead and get a hold of that audit report. Right now it's still draft. There's some things that have to be finalized, but it was a great report. Yeah, a lot of
It'll
detail.
end up on the website.
Yes,
definitely.
it will. We appointed the Conservation Restriction Working Group. We are still looking for 2 at-large citizens. So we looked at the people who represent different committees. We have someone from the Community Preservation Committee, Conservation Committee, Town Forest, and Open Space, and then Matt Selby, who is from our town staff. But we really like 2 citizens who are either interested in open space or just the legal side of creating the conservation restrictions, who'd like to be part of this group to look at some of the conservation requirements that we have with some of the properties that we own here in town.
And I see that the Ashland Auxiliary Police have roped in a few more of our graduated youth from Ashland High School.
Yeah, the auxiliary police is an all-volunteer police department that works with our regular police department, and you see them at all kinds of events. You see them at the farmers market during the summer, you see them at Ashland Day helping out, you see them at the half marathons. They're always around town. If something's going on, town meeting, a lot of times you'll see the auxiliary police there helping out, directing traffic, being a participating in what's going on. And what was nice was we did appoint 3 new auxiliary police officers, and they all live in town, and all 3 of them have graduated from the Ashland Public High Schools, have gone on, either have done some work in college already, looking at, they are interested in criminal justice or you know, that field. And so it was great, you know, to see them there and wanting them wanting to give back to the community. So that was nice. And then we added another police officer.
A transfer from Framingham.
Transfer from Framingham, yep. Chief Davis is doing a great job just in looking at what's going on in the police department and getting us back up to the level of staffing that we needed to be at. That, you know, it had sort of gone by the wayside, so now we're getting back up to our level of staffing that we really need, which will help with some of the overtime and covering of situations that we had in the past. So that was good to see. And then we talked about special town meeting coming up and the special election. We talked about a town report submission. So what happens is, as a town, you're supposed to create a town report that then gets presented at town meeting. We haven't done an official one in town for a number of years. So Tony and Mike, as they're looking at things, are saying, okay, we need to do this. So we as a Board of Selectmen have decided that I will write it, but if there are other members who would like to submit things to me, I'll create it, and then at our second meeting in March, we'll review it and then submit it because it needs to be in by the 21st of March.
Now, I know there's been some discussion about having the school district have some input into that. Was there any discussion last night on that?
There was no discussion last night on that, but I believe the school system has to, I believe Tony has reached out to the school to have them do a report just as well. And various committees and departments in town have been reached out to say, okay, we're creating this town report. We'd like you to put something in it so that people can see what you've done for the last year and maybe what some of your goals are moving forward.
All right, the schools typically do a state of the schools.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that'd be good to integrate that with the town.
I also think this might be presented, or parts of it presented. We're still looking to do a state of the town address. We had originally looked at a date in March, but that wasn't working, so now we're looking at a date sometime in April. So it'll be before town meeting, so people can come, hear the state of the town, ask some questions, look at preliminary budget numbers before they have to be voting things at town meeting in May.
So you bring up town meeting, and of course, town meeting comes with the warrant.
Yes.
And I noticed that last night we actually had some citizens put forward 3 citizens petitions for the warrant this year.
Yeah, so there was a group here in town who did a workshop on how to submit a citizen's petition for the town meeting warrant. And we did get 3 citizens petitions for town meeting warrant articles. So those will be added to the town meeting warrant. You know, they got the required signatures, and it's some small changes, but I think it's great for citizens to be looking at what's going on in town and participate. I mean, that's what Ashland enjoys, and we've always been a very inclusive town. We try to get people involved, so it's nice to see that they've brought these forward.
That is
And it just so happens that you have them with you.
I do. I was looking through them, and I did want to give a shout out to Julie Nardone and Jim Hanna, who have sort of sponsored or proposed these, and went out and got the necessary signatures. But I mean, that's the beauty of town meeting.
Right.
So the folks, which I like to say, the folks around
Yep.
town get to participate, and I think if you've seen Julie and Jim on cable also, you
Yes.
know that they're really trying to get local citizens to get more
Right.
involved in what's going on, and That's how you make the town work.
Well, and I think it's great that there's a lot of different input and perspective and people wanting to be involved. And I think as a town, you want that. You want citizens engaged and participating in town government and working with the elected officials and the non-elected officials.
Oh, yeah, you need it in a small town.
We're a small town. You need as many
extra
people
hands,
as possible. Yeah.
So nice work, Julie and Jim, and we'll look forward to seeing those on the floor and see how that
Yeah.
process continues.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And then just some last little things. We talked about the budget that we, moving forward where things are at. Of course, we're right now at the, okay, tell us everything you want, but then we'll have to go down and look at it again and say, okay, well, we may want this, but what do we need? And we'll have to as a town, we'll be having to make some decisions.
Oh, of course.
So.
March is always an interesting time.
March is an
when
interesting month.
Start looking at the line items in
Yes,
the budget. So.
yes.
But no, I think the process has been good. I saw the preliminary budget. I went
Mm-hmm.
through that, and it's good to see that the departments are having more input this year,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that town management, Tony and Mike, sort of get a bigger view of what's needed, and that'll definitely help when it comes time to sort of say what the priorities are and make the
Right.
adjustments. And I know that's going on up the street at the administration for the
Yeah.
schools, and so it'll be a much more open process. I'm looking forward to the reporting at the town meeting on the budget. This will be the first time, I think, that the town is really going to see a broader brush on the
Right.
detail, and it should make folks feel good about the process and feel good about the decisions. So.
Yeah, and the process has been good. I think Tony and Mike are very inclusive of all the town departments and getting the department heads involved and really finding out what they need and what changes they see could help them be more effective and efficient. And that's some of the things that we're looking at to improve some of the efficiency that's going on in Town Hall.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. So normally at this point in our show, we have our Ask the Clock segment. That's when hopefully someone out there sends us questions to ask. We had no Ask the Clock
No, unfortunately.
this week, so maybe that's a good sign that things are going well.
That
and-
people are understanding and they don't have any questions. So.
But if you do have a question, you can send it to us at ashlandaroundtheclock@gmail.com. And as you like to say, not only can they ask us questions, but if they have any suggestions for
Right.
segments, we're happy to take anything on. So remember, ashlandaroundtheclock@gmail.com. We'll be right back with our trip to the library to visit our library director, Paula Bonetti. Stay tuned. All right, hello everyone. We made our way to the Ashland Public Library. I'm with Paula Bonetti, the library director. Thanks for coming on to Around the Clock.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and now Paula, you've been here 12 years now.
That's right.
Time flies, you get it's not a brand new library.
No, we've
right?
actually been in the building about 8 years now, but yeah, a big change from when I first came here 12 years ago.
It's a beautiful facility. We're actually in the corner here with some nice art. You have regular art exhibits also.
We do. Actually, the art changes monthly, and we do have, one of our strengths in the library is our volunteers, and Larry DeYoung, who taught at Ashland High for many years. Once he retired, came to the library, and he coordinates all of the art exhibits. And it's really one of the highlights of the building. Many people come monthly just to see the new exhibits. So.
These pictures are very colorful and beautiful. So you have volunteers. We hear a lot about the library. We're coming up on town meeting and warrant time, and we always hear about the library funding. How is it looking this year?
Well, I'm encouraged because we hope to be sharing in some of the revenue from the meals tax, which goes into effect, I believe, March 1st. And the plan is in fiscal year 15, which would begin July 1st, that we would be using some of that revenue to reopen the library on Friday mornings, which we're taping here on a Friday morning, and the library is actually closed. Which would help us at this point. We're not in full compliance with the hours open that the Mass Board of Library Commissioners requires for a town of Ashland's population. So the additional hours in the morning helps bring us closer to that compliance, and also makes the building a little more accessible to people. Right now we're only open 2 to 5, and it's a busy 3 hours, but there are a lot of people that would, I think, will be very happy when we're open on Friday mornings.
And the rest of the week?
The rest of the week will remain the same, I think, with the funding that we're anticipating. At this point, just in talks with the administration, that would be our start, because we're sharing in the money, and I'm not, it's projected at this point. So I think hopefully if it's successful, then we can look into maybe opening some longer hours in the evenings. We haven't really gotten that far yet because we want to see what happens next year.
You typically open at 10?
In the mornings, yes, we're generally open, and right now, 3 nights a week, we're open till 8. And on Saturdays from 10 to 5, and we do stay open on Saturdays year-round, so.
Right. So certainly it's a beautiful facility, multi-floor facility, several different rooms. People go to the library to get books, but, we were talking earlier, I said, we went on a recent trip this summer and came and got some books on tape. There's a lot of different offerings here. You want to sort of tell our
Right.
friends at home?
We have books and magazines and a lot of the typical print materials that you would expect. Audiobooks have become very popular, and we try to supplement the collection, a lot of our print collection, with audiobooks. We also have another format which is called Play Away, where the entire book is on a small unit, and it almost looks like an iPod, and it has buttons. The nice part of that is it doesn't require, the actual book is already downloaded for you, so for those people that are looking for an audiobook, some find that the multi-disc books are kind of cumbersome if you're traveling, or have them in the car. So where it's all on one unit, a lot of people like that, and it's they're pretty easy to use, so it's kind of a nice step in between people that are downloading to another device that still want an audiobook, but they don't really have the expertise of the device to do that. And we also have access to downloadable ebooks and audiobooks. The demand for that is tremendous. It's costly. Most of our material that we have available is through the Minuteman catalog, and we're contributing towards the Minuteman collection. It's the only way we'd really be able to afford it. We also supplement with some of our own money, which we buy materials that are just available for Ashland residents. And what staff does is they go on and we look at what the reserve list is, and try to buy another copy for people. But the demand is high. A lot of people, I think there's the e-books and audiobooks are compatible with maybe like 80 to 100 different devices that are out there. And so sometimes you'll go on and you'll see a waiting list of 1,000 people, just like you would a print book. And I have to remind people that when we buy an copy of something, it's just one license that we're buying. So I think people have the perception they can go online and just download, and that's not the case. So I remind people to think of it as just another copy in a different format. But it's definitely a growing area, and we recognize that, and we're doing the best we can to meet the demand, but it's a challenge.
That's good. And what about other types of programming?
Well, we're fortunate, back to our volunteer base, the Friends of the Library fund and plan a lot of our programming. And so we typically have what we call a Young Families program on Saturday mornings. It might be a musician, it might be an animal program, a magician. We also have some early release day programming, and all of this is staffed by volunteers and funded by the Friends. And then we have a documentary film and discussion series twice a month, which again is led by some volunteers, and as well as a Friday night film series. So those are the programs that we're running on a regular basis through the Friends of the Library and through, their volunteers that help select the materials and the programs. The nice part about the Friday night films and the documentary films is a lot of times the films then become part of the library collection. Mm-hmm. So we're actually maximizing the program by adding to the collection once the program is over. And I really don't want to, we talked a little bit about the artwork, but we also have other programs that go on. And it's not really a program, but people talk a lot about the building and the plants, and I'd like to mention the volunteers that take care of the plants, because that's a big undertaking. Our fish tank is, again, a company in town that volunteers their services. They purchased it, and they also clean it and maintain it. So
it's quite the community.
It
running
really
the show
is.
here.
I hate to sound cliche and say it takes a village to run it, but we really, one of our strengths is our volunteer base.
So if you're interested in being a volunteer or supporting the library, there's a website?
There actually, Joanne Duffy at the Senior Center coordinates the tax relief program, where we have several seniors that work here through her program. The Friends of the Library are always looking for board members, people to coordinate and work at some of their programs. The book sale is one of their major fundraisers, and that's a lot of work, sort of organizing, going through the donations. And that we have a lot of high school volunteers because there is a community service component.
All right, well, we appreciate you taking time to let us come and visit the beautiful library here, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to trudge back through the snow, back up to the studio, and our intrepid camera crew's got a lot of pictures of snow around town, so check out some of this footage. Thanks for stopping in the library.
Well, Mark, thanks for that great tour of the library and talking to Paula Benetti. It's always great to see all the great things that are going on here in Ashland. And speaking of great things, I am here with Erica Dinnerman, who is working with the Decisions at Every Turn Coalition because of the grant that they got. Mm-hmm. Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking a little bit of time to tell us what you're doing and talk about all the great things that Decisions at Every Turn are doing.
Well, thanks for having me. We are very, very excited to have this grant in Ashland. We received the grant in October of 2013, and people who applied for the grant, Amy Turncliffe, who wrote the grant, and Claudia Rose and Kathy Bach, who have all been instrumental in kind of keeping the coalition going as they've applied and received the grant, should really be commended for their hard work in making this grant possible for the community. There were 147 grants awarded nationally this year, and so it was a very competitive grant. And it means that Ashland has the opportunity for the next 5 years to work on some of the challenging issues that our youth and communities face regarding substance use.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about Decisions at Every Turn and some of the things that it's doing to support the community?
Sure. So Decisions at Every Turn is basically a community coalition made up of your neighbors, your co-workers, people who have lived here and are committed to the youth and family agenda and issues, and those people come together monthly and we talk about what can we do what can we each do to move our agenda forward and move our goals forward to keep kids in Ashland safe and drug-free. And so what we try and do is use existing resources so that we are really making the best use we can of the knowledge that we have, of the supplies that we have. So we're not looking to spend extra money. Or long term, we're not looking to create things that are going to cost money. We really want to try and build a strong infrastructure with people in the community so that we can continue to do our work. And some of it is educational, and some of it has to do with policy. For example, making decisions about marijuana dispensaries, for example, and where they can be cited. And then we do other things that are more educational, directed toward youth and directed toward parents and community.
Great. It's interesting that you talk about not wanting to increase resources. As Ashland, as many towns, our resources are limited. So we were fortunate to get the grant to be able to use that money. There is a match portion that we have to do, which fortunately we've been able to do.
Right.
So that's good. So what is your position, and how does that work with everything that's going on?
So my position is the coordinator. So I coordinate the efforts of all the people who are in the community and have resources to pool and help people work together and make connections. And so I'm, in essence, a community organizer. I'm helping people within the community to use what they have and really to strengthen that infrastructure. And that's my primary role.
Okay. What are some of the plans coming up for the Decisions at Every Turn Coalition?
So we actually have been working on our executive committee and getting our executive committee in place, and now we're getting ready to have a celebration, and we've invited the whole community to come to the library, and the celebration is on March 6th from 4 to 6.
We have the flyer here, the community celebration. That's great.
And we hope everyone will come and not only enjoy cake, but learn about what we're doing and find out if there are things that you're interested in and would like to get involved. We're anxious to have people in the community come forward and do all that you can to help support kids and families. So that's one of the things.
So obviously, you know, it's Decisions at Every Turn. You're talking about kids and family. What about people who maybe don't have kids? How could they get involved or participate in this great program?
So, I mean, even if you don't have children, you know people who may or may not have been affected by substance use. It does affect everyone. Everyone has to make a decision ultimately about alcohol, for example, which becomes legal at age 21. People decide if they're going to use alcohol in their lives or not, and so that's a decision everybody makes. We all know that there can be increased crime in a community because of substance use. There can be family issues because of substance use, and so because of that, we really feel like everybody's energy and everybody's voice is important, and we need everybody's input, because if there's something that you're thinking about, somebody else is also thinking it, and somebody has to give voice to those people. So if you feel like you have an extra hour or two a month, we know that we can find something that will interest you.
Okay. Now, one of the things that some of the organizations, when they're looking at alcohol use around prom time and things like that, is they put a wrecked car outside of the school. Right. Is that something that the coalition is going to be looking at for this year, or?
So things like car crashes, which were supported by MAD, Mothers Against Destructive Decisions, is a strategy that is not strongly supported in the prevention field. Oh, okay. So because it doesn't tend to have long-term effects on decisions that youth make. So if we survey kids, we may ask them, did that impact any choices you made? And long-term, it really doesn't. So we would not be inclined to use a strategy like that, but we would certainly support, if SAD were to do that strategy, information about drunk driving or, any other kind of information that would support that strategy. So.
Yeah, because we don't have a MAD group, we have a SAD group at our high schools because it's Students Against Destructive Decisions.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about getting more involved. I believe we're going to put the website, so ashlanddecisions.org.
Yeah.
And you have the celebration coming up on March 6th. When is your next meeting that if someone wanted to come and sit in on a meeting and get involved that way, when could they attend that?
So the next meeting is Tuesday evening, this coming
Okay.
Tuesday evening, and the meetings are from 5:30 to 7 at the school administration building, and we welcome anyone who is interested to come to a meeting. We also have a website that has lots of information on it. We're also hosting a town hall meeting in early May. We'd encourage community members to come and share input about their perspective on substance use in Ashland. And we would just love to have, you can call me, you can email me, just to make the call or do a little bit of outreach, and we will be happy to have you be involved.
Great. Well, we'll look to see you on March 6th at the community celebration at the library. That
thank
looks
you.
like it's a great way to sort of kick off and let people know about the grant. As we finish up, is there anything in particular you'd like to say that we haven't talked about to the community directly?
Well, I think, we all realize that this is a difficult subject, and Ashland has a wonderful opportunity over the next 5 years to really take a look at what we're going to do to keep kids in this community safe and along a really healthy and successful path. And it's a really important initiative, so I hope people will take the time to get involved. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for stopping by. It was great getting to meet you, and I'm sure we'll see you around a fair amount as we move forward with this great project. So thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Once upon a time, marijuana came along. It was in my sights. I got it for me. I bought it. I bought it. I bought it. It. I knew it was trouble when it came out. The pills, the shots, the smoke, drugs took me to places I'd never been. Till I got addicted. Oh, oh, drugs, drugs, drugs. Oh, drugs, drugs, drugs. Did you know that 17% of high school students drink, smoke, or use drugs during the school day? This survey was taken by the National Center on Substance Abuse and Addiction. This count.
Welcome back to Around the Clock. So we are going to take you on our Around the Clock tour. We've been out visiting a few things. The first place that we're going is the Community Center for the Senior Dinner and Auction presented by the Council on Aging and the Friends of the Council on Aging. I had the opportunity to go out, have a great meal, and talk to a few people about some of the auction items. So let's go take a look. So we're here at the Ashland Senior Center for the annual auction and buffet dinner. Have you had a chance to look at any of the auction items?
I have looked at several of the items.
And is anything in particular you're looking at?
Always got to look at the Bose CD player. Mm-hmm. And there are several other, there are some tools,
Okay.
which are all of.
Tools are, you're a guy. Tools are...
Absolutely. Who can pass up a drill?
Now I hear the cookies are a big thing here.
Cookies are very big, and they are very good.
Macadamia ones. Oh.
And they're homemade, right? Oh, yeah. So which one should I go for? Which one is worth fighting for?
One you can afford. Because the prices go very, very high. The first year that I got a dozen of the cookies, I think it was up to like $30, and I didn't know what I was bidding on. And it was a surprise when they got up to in the 70s and 80s, and even more than that, I think.
Everything is new, as has been the practice with us. Everything is brand new. We do have a whole bunch of boxes of certificates that are from different restaurants and establishments in town. Some of the things are from out of town, but for the most part, they're, I'd say about 70% or 75% are from in town.
And it's all donated, and all the
yep.
proceeds go to the Council on Aging.
The Friends.
Friends of the Council
Council
on Aging.
can't accept money. The
Right,
Friends
so the
can.
Friends can.
The Friends can. The Friends are the moneymaker for the council.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? And who the heck wants to listen to three selectmen the first thing on a Saturday morning? I know. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of the board, Steve, Mark, myself, Paul, and Yolanda. And unfortunately, Yolanda is not able to be here this morning. But she asked me to read this. And I have no problem reading it because I think we all feel the same way about all of you who volunteer your time, who take time away from your families, your friends, and times where you could just sit and relax and enjoy yourselves and your hobbies. But you don't do that. You take the initiative to volunteer and do something for the town, our community. And with that, we'd like to thank you for coming to our volunteer breakfast. So thank you for being a volunteer. Thank you for helping making Ashland the great town that it is, because volunteers are what make Ashland move. You know that. You've been doing it for a number of years, and we appreciate that. You are the townspeople. You live in town. You've raised your families in town. You worked in town. You know what the town is all about. That's why you volunteer. You want to make it a better place for everyone, including yourselves, and we really appreciate that. And especially of those of us who have since retired and those who have already retired know how much of a nice place it is to live in town. So please keep what you're doing and continue what you're doing. We encourage you to join others, to join you, to be part of the volunteerism and effort in town. New blood is always a good thing to have, and we ask you to ask your friends, some of your family members, to get involved in the town. As you know, the town's increased in size, and we want to again thank you for making Ashland what it is. And I will pass the mic to either Mark or Steve. I'm sure they have a few comments they would like to make. Steve? I did it. You did it.
Did you? Okay. Well, again, I think there's not much more we can say than I think Yolanda expressed it pretty well, and I think Joe interpreted it very well. And again, I think what we would all encourage is just more participation, more involvement, and we're doing a lot of great things. We've got folks here from sustainability, open space and recreation. I think the town forest is here. We've got Board of Health. We got just a broad representation of folks. Finance committee is around somewhere, the ARA, so just great stuff that's going on in town, and just encourage positive moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
And I guess you folks already know this because you're already signed up and helping, but we've got a wonderful updated website, so if you know someone who might be interested in getting on a committee that you're on, or you see somebody who you think has some talent and should be helping out around town, they can go on the website and fill out a volunteer form, and the correct term is talent bank form, and they can also see all the different openings for our committees and activities going on in town. So a lot of new folks getting involved. Enzo from ARA's got a bunch of folks working on a music and arts festival. There's a bunch of folks working on the Pond Street redevelopment. So there's a bunch of new blood in town working on different volunteer activities. So we encourage that and hope that more and more folks will get signed up and work to keep Ashland great. So enjoy your breakfast. There's a lot of goodies here, so come on up and dig in. Thank you. Hello, everyone. We're at the Community Center. It's Saturday morning, February 22nd, and we're here at the Selectmen-sponsored Volunteer Breakfast. You can see behind me, I have all this lovely food from TJ's who've donated the food to us, and we're going to have all the different volunteers come by, hopefully, and have a little breakfast and commiserate, network, and have a little fun. All right, we're here with Town Manager Tony Schiavi. Nice turnout today, Tony. It's always good to have the volunteers show up.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's really great that the Board of Selectmen, recognizes our volunteers. They're a huge part of our community. They're a huge part of making our government run efficiently, because we have, just great folks in town. We leverage their knowledge, their experience, their ideas. Many have been in town for a really long time, and it helps to keep the, the corporate knowledge around as we work through, developing new things for our town to keep it on the cutting edge and leading edge of everything from open space to our libraries to, historical and Board of Health. I mean, it's just a great group of folks, and we're always looking for more folks to come out and volunteer and find the real great worth that you get out of volunteering. And it's something that you can always look back on as a time where you've given back to your community, and I think it's a good feeling when you can do that.
I'm Florence Seidel from the Ashland Farmers Market. And we just want to remind everyone that the Farmers Market will start again June 14th and, lasts until October 11th. And it's Saturday mornings 9 to 1 with live music every week. great food, more tents and more attractions and events than ever before. Come on down.
And where do we come on down to, Florence?
Oh, across the street from the library, 125 Front Street.
Okay, we're here with Cynthia Whitty. Cynthia is involved with the community garden. Can you tell us a little about that, Cynthia?
Sure. The Ashland Community Gardens at Stone Park, we have 56 garden beds, 18 in ground, and the rest are in raised beds. And we have started. This will be our 6th year, and we're having a pre-season meeting on March 29th at the library, 10 a.m. to noon. So if you're interested, anybody interested in a garden bed should email us at info@ashlandcommunitygardens.org or come to the meeting. And to find out more, we have a wait list. And we have a lot of activities there. It's a real community meeting place. We have garden talks, potlucks, art in the garden, sometimes yoga in the garden, all kinds of activities going on, and it's a lot of fun. And people learn a lot about organic gardening from each other.
All right, so Miss, what's your name?
Cynthia Winterhalter.
And Cynthia, what do you do in town from a volunteer standpoint?
Well, I'm a volunteer member of the Ashland Historical Commission, and we are interested basically in preserving the historical assets in town here. We've restored the clock on the Telecron building, the top 2 clocks, and we're working on the 3rd one. We have coming up historic road signs. We've passed laws to preserve certain scenic roads in town. There are going to be signs available to people if they want to put on their houses as to what year they were built. And I personally am more involved in restoration of the old cemetery on Union Street that abuts St. Cecilia's Church, which has burials of all the earliest town people beginning in 1725. It's one of his 9 old slate gravestones, which are quite valuable historic asset. And we need 2 new members. We're more than happy to have anybody interested in this, people with building experience, other types of experience. You don't have to be a history person necessarily. You need to fill out a form with the Selectman's office to be considered for the committee. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia. All right, I'm here with Steve Mitchell, my selectman peer. Steve, lots of fun today at the volunteer breakfast.
Always a lot of fun, and great representation from a bunch of committees, and it was just great to bond over food.
Food's great, and as we know, we see a lot of the same people doing volunteer activities, which is good, and we're always looking for new blood, but I know you're on yet another committee. You want to tell us about it?
And as you are as well, and we're in the process of, via the ARA, the Redevelopment Authority, exploring the possibility of a music and arts festival to be scheduled possibly this October, and so we're very much involved in that process. So we're looking to finalize some budgetary items soon, and hopefully we've got something that's doable this year.
So it'll be a variety of different music as well as artsy stuff, and where will that be held?
Well, we're looking to, the premise is to focus on downtown Ashland and to create an environment where families, seniors, all the demographics can move around downtown easily, move from stages to stages, and incorporate a wide array of kids stuff, children's programming, and so just again the focus on the businesses and the unique character of downtown Ashland.
So that sounds like sort of a large event. If people want to get involved and help, what's the best way for them to step up in that arena?
Well, I would suggest that they reach out to either yourself, Mark Jewett, or to me, Steve Mitchell. The ARA is another avenue to do so, and our meetings are posted. They're open, scheduled meetings in Town Hall, so that's another opportunity. And we'll be making, as time goes on, more announcements and reaching out for people, because this is really going to be driven by volunteerism. So.
All right, great. Well, thanks for helping host the breakfast and for all the work you do around town.
Thank you, Mark.
right, Yolanda. Well, I'm still digesting that delicious breakfast that I technically haven't had yet.
I was gonna say.
But we're gonna jump off to our sports update, winter sports update now. Most of the regular season activities are over at the high school, and we just want to remind our viewers at home that you can watch all of your favorite Ashland High School varsity sports on WACA-TV, Comcast Channel 96, and Verizon Channel 39, as well as get updates on the WACA Facebook page. So, Yolanda, you want to start with boys and girls swimming?
Sure, we talked about it last time. Let's give you an update of their season. So our boys and girls swimming and diving, it's been quite a year in the pool for the Ashland High School. Our first-year coach, Anna Meisner, has truly taken this program to the next level. It's in addition to compiling a 5-1 regular season record, the Clockers finished in 3rd place at the TVL Championship meet. At the D2 South sectional meet, the boys team finished in 10th place out of 45 teams. And our senior Craig Barrett won the sectional title in the 200 freestyle. So it's nice, they're having some real success. And he edged out Grant Casey of Bishop Feehan High School by 54 hundredths of a second.
Close.
Yeah. In the girls' D2 South sectional meet, the Lady Clockers finished in 7th place out of 39 teams, with Lauren Grassberger taking home 2nd place in the 100 butterfly. A week later at the D2 state meet, the Clockers performed really well again, with the girls finishing 11th out of 37 teams and the boys finishing 12th out of 42 teams. And Barrett took home a 3rd place finish in the 200 freestyle. We've also had some good top 10 finishes by the Clockers at both meets, and we really congratulate them on a fantastic season.
Yeah, it is a great season.
Some of those kids will still be around next year, and hopefully they'll do even better. Going to boys and girls indoor track, changing the speed a little bit and changing the playing surface. Coaches Lou Mancini and Chris Avery have continued to make strides in building the up-and-coming track program at the Ashland High School. This winter saw many individual performances that were nothing short of awesome. So we had seniors Colin Mahoney, Tommy Hamilton, and Jenna Heaps were leading the way for the Clockers. They qualified us for the D5 state meet at the Reggie Lewis Center. And then Mahoney and Hamilton also both had top 10 finishes in their respective events. Freshman Elisa Z and sophomore Maddie Zeloff were also standouts this season, and they both qualified for the D5 state meet as well, and Z qualified for the all-state meet in the 55 dash. And then Mahoney and Z were TVL All-Stars. So anything, when they reach out to that and get to that TVL level and they're being recognized at that level, that's a really good thing. Another one of the winter sports is wrestling, and it's a combined Keefe Tech Ashland Co-op wrestling team, and they had a fabulous winter season. Their coaches are Pete Zakill from Ashland and Don Marini from Keefe Tech. And the team has grown in the number of participants, as well as had some really great successes this year. They had some first-time victories over Andover High School and Concord Carlisle High School. Those were some of the highlights of some dual meet regular seasons. And then of special note, the team's participation in the Pin Down Bullying Initiative that happened earlier this winter. So the combined wrestling team collaborated with Norton High School in supporting this event. So that was nice. And the Harvard wrestling coach and Ashland resident Jay Weiss, who we had on our show last time, started that initiative. So it's nice to find that collaboration going on. The evening was a big success. Senior Zach Egnitz from Ashland was a D2 Central Sectional Champion at 160 pounds. And freshman Michael Krupe took home a 3rd place finish at 106 pounds. And both of these wrestlers will compete at the D2 state meet that happened in North Andover. So hopefully they did well. That'll be happening after we film, but after people have seen this. So hopefully they'll know the results. We'll see. Another winter sport is gymnastics. And another new coach here, first-year coach Jen Libben. It's a combined team, and they've qualified for the South Sectional meet, and that's quite an accomplishment. The co-op team is comprised of athletes from Medfield, Ashland, and Dover-Sherburne. And for Ashland, we have freshman Chrissy Tosti and Chloe Covell, and then junior Corey Bennett, and all qualified for individuals competition at the state level, so that was good to see. And then Covell took home a third place at the meet in the floor routine, while Bennett's scores in the all-around competition earned her a trip to the regional competition.
Excellent.
So we're seeing some growth in that. It hadn't always been a team sport at the high school, so we're having that now and seeing some nice accomplishments there.
It's cold and snowy outside, but it's hot inside.
That is. Our teams are doing well.
Well, let's pick up with some girls hockey. Under the direction of head coach Kurt Carter, the girls hockey team again qualified for D2 state tournament. They've been on a run for a while now. Entering today's regular season finale against Algonquin, the ladies have an overall record of 13-4-2.
That's a nice record.
Very impressive. The team continues to impress all of their fans and Clocker Nation. The team is a co-op team also, comprised of girls from Medway, Ashland, Millicent, Holliston. Boys hockey, this is a tremendous story. After a 2-year hiatus, which in lingo means they really weren't very good for a while, the boys are back in the D3 South Sectional Tournament.
Nice.
They're having a terrific season. 2 games remaining. Their record's 11-5-2, very similar to the girls program. Senior Derek Massionis was named the Tri-Valley MVP.
Wow.
Also, senior Spencer Wilson was named a first-team All-Star and was also awarded the MIAA Boston Bruins Sportsmanship Award representing the TVL, which is a big deal.
That's a nice thing to hear.
You know, the kids have really turned the corner and showing what it's like to be from Ashland and be a true Clockers. So this makes it 2 years in a row that the TVL representative was a Clocker.
Great.
So great job by the folks running the high school programs. Chris Bartoli, who's a senior, Nolan Sheehan, who's a senior, and Devin Sheth, who is a junior, were also named to the TVL second team All-Stars. So the boys have a bright future coming up in the tournament.
Great.
Girls basketball, not the best record this year, but they're a young team, inexperienced, new coach, Coach Morazi's taken over. They competed with grit and passion, and came out every night at a couple of very close games against Bellingham, who ended up 17-3, and Hopkinton, who ended up 15-5, as well as non-league Coyle and Cassidy, who's a powerhouse. So annual tournament favorites there, but. They're working on it. They'll be back next year. They're a young team. Sammy Leone was a standout for the team, and we look forward to seeing them next season.
Following her sister's footsteps.
Following in her sister's footsteps, exactly. And then last but not least, boys basketball finished up its regular season last night. And Joe Burns, he had 19 points, but the boys fell from the ranks of the unbeaten in their regular season finale with a loss to Tri-Valley nemesis. Norton, 45-42. The boys, they were up 21-18 at halftime. They were up 2 points going in the fourth quarter, but the Lancers came back for the victory at the end, avenging a 45-35 loss they had here at Ashland. Coach Champagne says it wasn't that they played poorly. He gave Norton a lot of credit. But Norton needed to win last night to get in the tournament themselves. So
they were really fighting for it.
They had a bit more grit than we did last night. So it's been a long, grinding season for the kids. To their credit, they came out, played hard every night. They were very emotional last night. There were some tough calls. You can see that game on WACA-TV. Make your own mind up. But you can't be that close at the end and have to worry about that.
Right.
They were a little tense, I think, trying to go for the undefeated season.
Yeah, it was a tough, almost, a lot of pressure for them to have that undefeated. But they're not done yet.
They're not done. Irusi also played great last night. Coach is real proud of the kids in the school. They had a big crowd there again, made the long trek down to Norton. But basically, they got beaten last night because Norton made a couple more plays than the Clockers did at the end. So they got the day off today, and then they're back getting ready for the tournament. They ended up 19-1 overall, 17-1 in the TVL, which gave them the TVL championship outright for the first time since 2006. The team's never been 19-1. And with that finish, they're the #1 seed in the Division III Central Sectional, which will really bode well for them in the tournament. They'll have a home game first, then likely, hopefully go off to WPI for the quarters, and then off we go.
And when does that tournament start?
They'll probably start end of next week.
Okay.
Which will be 27, 28.
Right.
of
So
February.
if you're watching this, it could have been before or after, but around February 27th, check the schedule, and if you want to go support them.
Stay tuned to WACA
WACA,
TV.
and
We'll
see
give you some updates on when those games are coming. But there are special shout-outs to go around. Senior Joe Burns, he was named TVL MVP.
Congratulations to Joe.
Very impressive award, as well as the first team All-Star. He averaged over 15 points a game and 5 rebounds. Senior John Iarusi and sophomore Max Feinberg, some of the future right there, were named to the second team All-Star squad. So to have three All-Stars on your team is very impressive. In a TVL, which is a very, very strong league.
It's a tough league.
Fourth-year coach Mark Champagne named TVL Coach of the Year.
Wow.
So big shout out to Coach Champagne, who's really turned the program around since he's been here.
Good.
So as we said, stay tuned to WACA-TV for updates on when the Clockers will be playing in the upcoming MIAA tournament. And as we said, they'll host a home game and then off to WPI, and hopefully we'll be making that big road trip to the Garden before the tournament's over. All right, so thanks for tuning into our sports update. Yolanda and I will be right back with our final second segment. Stay tuned. All right, everyone. Yolanda and I would like to thank you for joining us with this episode of Around the Clock. We want to send out a special shout out to our special guest, Erica Dinneman, who is the coordinator of the Ashland Decisions at Every Turn Coalition, as well as our library director, Paula Bonetti, for that great tour we had at the library. Beautiful building, lots of good stuff to do down there. You should make a trip. Also want to say a wave and a hi to the seniors at the community center. Great senior dinner and auction that Yolanda got to attend. And to all you volunteers or possible volunteers to be who want to be at that volunteer breakfast, thanks to all the crew down at the community center. And once again, a shout out to John and Joe at TJ's. Yolanda, you get to do the final second segment this week.
Well, great. Thank you, Mark. It's always fun sitting here and recording and getting to bring all this great news and information to the town. And we always look for feedback and input. If you want to see something that we're not talking about, please feel free to get in touch with us. It's a great sunny day as we're sitting here filming. Unfortunately, spring is not here yet. So as you think about it, as more snow comes, we ask that you help out in the community by shoveling out your fire hydrants. Help your town and help your house maybe be saved, or your neighbor's house. So thanks for watching. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Here we are with more Clock of Magic as they tie it up, all 22s. And here's another turnover by the Raiders. Burns to Feinberg, stops and pops, and he'll get two. That's going to be a timeout. Swung around to Iarusi. Big Johnny Iarusi with three. Feinberg, long range. Boom! Up Ashland 63, DS 42. Your Clockers go to 16-0 on the season.
Morrison jumping center. There's good ups and yellow sneakers. Maybe they give him a little bit more elevation.
Helps the scouts identify him, and the Warriors win the tip against Conroy. Clockers take it away. Joey with a clear path lays it in.
First catch.
Max down the lane in the corner and one.
And that's why. Nope.
Mark says no. I'm going to go to the foul line and switches it. David Morrison. David Morrison went towards the basket and got himself 2 points. Morrison, one of the real warriors in the Ashland High School.
I'm not sure whether they would let Cam back in the senior class.
Quarterback, the football is lost, and that'll do it. Ashland goes to 18-0.